You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Guess who's back? Not just the voice of your favourite podcast, but the highly anticipated return of QB1 Tua Tagovailoa is here. It's week 1 of the 2023 NFL season, and the Miami Dolphins travel to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers in the season opener. Competing in a loaded AFC East will be unforgiving. However, there aren't many that will be able to go head-to-head with this Dolphins roster. Questions will get answered, games will be played, and week 1 is just the beginning of it all. The wait is over. Tua versus Herbert, Miami versus LA, the Dolphins are back. Fins up, Fin fans, now back to Charlie and Kadeem.
I feel like I've said this a few times, but we can't get any closer as a podcast than to week 1. This is the Miami Dolphins, LA Chargers preview show, live bullets, live rounds, live action. Again, like we said before, preseason's done, training camp's done, the mini training camps are done. Install is underway. We are preparing for the opening game of the season, and I cannot be more excited. Mr. Charlie Touche, how are you?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. You said live rounds, bro. It's the day before, and we here now. So, woo! Chargers versus Dolphins, week 1. What you got, Kadeem?
I feel like there's so much to go into, and this is a game which has so many narratives around it. The biggest one is essentially Tua Tagovailoa v Justin Herbert. The quarterbacks who were picked, essentially back-to-back. Tua going first at 5th overall, Herbert going 6th overall. To this day, there will always be people saying the Dolphins should have taken Justin Herbert. Look at what Justin Herbert's done since joining the league, the throws, the plays, all that kind of stuff. There's a whole other side which is say, well, hey, Tua's got the winning record. The Dolphins have made the playoffs. There's a whole bunch of narratives which will just not go away. And last season, before we faced them, it was kind of like, if Tua wins this, he'll be what? 2-0 against the Chargers, 2-0 against Herbert, and was it 2-0?
Nah, he lost last year. We lost last year.
No, I'm saying like before the game. I'm saying before.
So remember. So what you just said was last year or this year?
Last year.
Okay, last year. Yeah.
So last year, heading into the game, it was like
right.
If heading into this game, if Tua wins on the road against the Chargers, the debate is done. The debate is finished. Tua the better quarterback. The Dolphins are the better team, and they made the better choice. The Dolphins didn't win. It's tied 1-1, and that narrative is still going, still rumbling, saying, did the Dolphins make, the incorrect decision when they picked Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert? Tua kind of addressed it in his media availability the other day and kind of said, hey, I like Justin Herbert, but we're different people, different players. That's not going to stop the conversation, but we'll truly delve into the game a bit later on. But this is something which is never, ever going to wait as long as the two players are both playing until essentially one wins a ring.
Yeah, that even if we won last year and it was 2-0, Tua's undefeated against the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? Tua could have been undefeated against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. That doesn't change. For me, it's 2 games. It's not 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be 20 more games of Tua versus Herbert. So, and ultimately, the generic quarterback response is I play against their defense. I don't play against Justin Herbert. You know what I'm saying? Like Herbert doesn't play against me. He plays against the Dolphins defense. You know what I'm saying? So we still have a long time to figure out which quarterback is better. And for my pound, I think they're gonna be fairly close to each other. It's not gonna be a wrong answer. I think Tua's gonna have championships. I don't know. Herbert's gonna have one. But you know what I'm saying? If he did get one, like it doesn't change anything for me. Ultimately, like just being the football head that I am, trying to remove my bias, Dolphin bias. If I had to guess at the end of the day, when their careers are over, who is the better quarterback? I think it's going to be super close still. I really do think it'll be super close. You're going to look at stats. You're going to look at the it factor. You're going to look at who had touchdowns and all this other good stuff, the hardware, everything like that. I would take Tua, but it's not like this huge discrepancy of, oh, you should have took Herbert. Ha ha, y'all had the wrong quarterback. You see what I'm saying? So for whatever reason, Chargers fans would throw that at us. Oh, you guys didn't take the right quarterback. You're supposed to take Herbert. But ultimately, when Tua ends up with more championships than Herbert, I'm still not going to say y'all got the wrong quarterback. You know what I'm saying? It's so close that it's not going to be a thing for me to point out like, you guys got Herbert, we got Tua. Like, I don't know why people do that, but I'm not here for it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's clearly a fan thing, players, coaches, all that kind of stuff. They really don't care. Like, I believe Javon, just get his name right, friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, spoke about Justin Herbert the other day. He spoke about his character, his play, and stuff like that. There were some people saying, well, how can he say that? He's going against Tua. Like, the pair didn't play together. Like, Javon Holland is allowed to be a fan of Justin Herbert, given, they played for the same team, at Oregon. You can't get away from the link, the intricacies, all that kind of stuff. But as you so brilliantly put it, Tua doesn't play against Herbert. Herbert doesn't play against Tua. It's Tua against the Chargers defense. The Chargers defense against the Chargers offense against Miami's defense. And that's really where it's going to be so fascinating, because last season's game, a few people have kind of gone back and looked and see where the Dolphins went wrong, all that kind of stuff. And, if you do go back and watch that game, the Dolphins didn't run the ball nearly enough as they should have. And especially when the Chargers defense started to really key in on what Mike McDaniel and Tua were trying to do. It was kind of like, hey, you probably should start running the ball now. Probably should take some of the pressure off Tua, not make it so predictable and all that kind of stuff. And it'll be very interesting. And Mike McDaniel was asked about this week, the lessons you can learn from that game, all that kind of stuff. And I'll be very interested to see the Dolphins game plan going into this game, especially when it's week one. Both teams are going to, sprinkle some new things to what they did last year. And the Dolphins, especially on the defensive side of the ball, are going to, show things that we haven't seen, given that Vic Fangio coming in. And remind me of the guy's name, the coach we took from the Chargers.
I forgot. And if I heard the name, if it was multiple choice, I would get it. But I definitely forgot.
It was something like, was it Denario Hill?
Oh, yeah, it is Hill. It's Hill, but I don't remember the first name.
Right, let's see if I can quickly find it.
While you're finding it, this is something I never shared on the podcast. And once upon for those who don't know, Javon Holland came to the show and he was on the podcast. We chopped it up with him, right? But there's a lot of people who don't know that me and Javon Holland had like some conversations in person when we first met each other. And there were some things obviously we're not going to share. And there's some things that I didn't care to share early on. But now we're a couple years removed. And was it? How long? Yeah, I guess it was a year. How long? When did Javon Holland come out?
About 2 years.
2 years?
Nah, the year before. I was in the flat. Okay. And I've been out of the flat for like 2 years now.
So it was some things I didn't want to share. You know what I'm saying? When Javon Holland first came on the podcast. But I'll share them now because, it's some time removed with a whole season of okay, you know what? Tua is a dude now. Y'all remember it was Flores was the coach, and Flores I think just got fired, and there was a lot of friction between Tua and Flores. The Flores conversation, there was a lot going on, and Tua's about to get traded for Deshaun Watson allegedly. You know what I'm saying? So that was around the time I met Javon Holland. So while we were talking, Justin Herbert came up. You know, this is just a casual conversation. And for someone like myself, I used to make music, right? I still kind of make music, right? But I used to have a living making music. I used to do tours and had a contract, had a record deal. And every time you meet someone that you don't know, all they do is talk about music because I'm a musician, you know, or I was a musician. So they're like, oh, what do you think about this, this, and this, and this? So I wasn't really trying to do that with Javon Holland because I understand, he probably don't want to talk about football when he meets a random because that's all randoms are going to do, right? Somehow we end up talking about football, and it was organic, and I appreciated him like because of that. Like, dang, this is a cool, solid dude. It's an organic conversation, and Justin Herbert name come up. And Herbert pops up and he was like, yeah, that's my dog. That's my guy. You feel me? And it's funny because if he said that on that podcast, on our podcast at that time, it would have been, oh, Javon Holland wanted Herbert. That's his guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, relax. It's okay for Herbert to be good. But it's not like there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC. Not only NFL, but the AFC. So, we're going to run across a whole bunch of, let me do this, Kadeem. How come no one brings up Jalen Herbert? Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? How come no one says, oh, Chargers, y'all got it wrong. Y'all didn't pick Jalen Hurts?
No idea. And I think a few people kind of had or have, it's like,
no,
the Dolphins.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that.
It's very few. And it's normally like, I was going to say pundits. That's a UK term. Talking heads, whatever, I'm not saying it was these people, but your Skip Baylesses, all that kind of stuff. They'll be like, the Dolphins chose the wrong Alabama quarterback and all that kind of stuff.
I'm not talking about the Dolphins, though. I'm talking about Herbert. I'm like, how come you don't hear teams or people saying, dang, oh, the Chargers should have took Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Look what Hurts did, and he got to do the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like, Burrow got to the Super Bowl, which is cool, ahead of time, awesome. You know what I'm saying? And Burrow is crowned. You know what I'm saying? Burrow is crowned. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's the next Brady. It's gonna be Burrow and Mahomes, right? And then you get the conversation of, and I kind of don't want to make this into this conversation, but we're already here. But then you get who's next? And you know what I'm saying? Did you get the lemon? But at the same time, bro, do we really trust Jalen Hurts like that to be the long-term heir apparent to who knows, like the next best thing in Philly to be Donovan McNabb, the second coming of Donovan McNabb? I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I'm okay with the way things panned out. I wish we had a better the coach handled it better when we had Tua. I wish he wasn't so exposed to all the nonsense like the trade rumors and stuff. And now we have a jaded quarterback. Dude is legitimately jaded as a human. You know what I'm saying? So now there's like a thought process and there's thinking about this. And you know what I'm saying? We're going to get to our picks for the week and who, if we think the Dolphins are going to pull this off and all this other good stuff. But at the same time, it's just not healthy, bro. Go in, play football, regardless of the quarterback, regardless of the team. They're nameless and they're faceless. And this week one, we got to get a W.
You say that they're nameless.
Was it
Charlie?
Ronaldo Hill? Was it Ronaldo Hill?
I was close. So, very quick quiz. He was the starting safety of the 2006 Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
He came from Oakland and he left for the Broncos. So yeah, starting safety.
What was his name, Kadeem? We still don't have it.
I know it. I'm asking you. I
just said Ronaldo Hill. Is it Ronaldo Hill?
I said that first, and I was
you did not say Ronaldo. You said like Denario or something like that.
Oh yeah, actually. So what did you say?
I said Ronaldo Hill.
That is the name. Yeah. Apologies.
See, like it's cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So that was it. Yeah. So yeah, he was the Charger defensive coordinator for a year. obviously also had time. Obviously had time with the Dolphins in 2018 as a assistant defensive backs coach. Then left for the Broncos for 1 year. Obviously spent time with Vic Fangio there. Moved on to the Chargers, and now he's back with the Dolphins. So, a quick question for you: do you think that gives the Dolphins any added, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Not luck, advantage. Does
Advantage.
Hill?
It
Yeah.
does. It does. Go ahead, ask the question though.
What I was going to say, given that he was there last year, he essentially, had his defense go up against Justin Herbert on a daily basis. Does bringing him from the Chargers not only weaken their defense, but also, allow Vic Fangio to throw something at Justin Herbert, which I guess other coaches might not know, given they haven't had that kind of close relationship with Justin Herbert.
So yes, is an advantage, but how big of an advantage, right? Yes, he was in that locker room, but we don't know that he came up with this idea. But there was someone in the locker room, right? So now Tua and Mike McDaniel said it like, yo, they knew what we were gonna do and they prevented us from doing it, and we lost the game. So now that we have that in our locker room, we get to ask the questions like, all right, well, we know what y'all did, but why did you do it? How did you come up with it? And now how we don't think they're gonna do exactly the same thing, but we'll be ready for it if they did. But two, how many more other things can they do off of that? So yeah, it's an advantage for us. We get to pick the brain of someone that was in the room, and for sure, like I'm about to get into my prediction, but go ahead.
Well, it's like you said, Brandon Staley's still going to be picking or running the plays. So I'm sure he can have some other things to throw at Tua and this offense. Is why I said earlier it's so important that the Dolphins establish the run game and establish it early. Um, Obviously we'll get into the injury report later on. It's no spoiler alert at this stage. There might not be Tawan Armstead at left tackle. Now, no Tawan Armstead at left tackle 100% altered the Dolphins' game plan. It alters essentially how long and how clean Tua can stay in the backfield. But at the same time, the Dolphins in preseason showed and there was a willingness to run the ball. And opening week of the season on the road, one of the best ways to quiet down, I assume rampant SoFi Stadium is to run the ball and keep, Chargers fans on their seats for as long as possible. So I'm definitely intrigued by the game plan that Mike McDaniel chooses to run this week. Um, at the same time, it's against no secret when you've got Hill and Waddle, there's obviously going to be a tendency to try and hit them early and early as possible. And the Dolphins showed last season from week 1 to week 17, or especially when Tua was on the field, they really have no issue with going long on 3rd and 6. They don't care. It's like, you know what? We're going to do it because good luck trying to stop Tyreek Hill when he's running past you. And it'll be very interesting to see how the Dolphins attack this Chargers team, down the field in the intermediate routes, all that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game. And especially in a super, super, super tight AFC loaded with so much talent. It's a game which, listen, you don't want to lose any opening game or any game at all. But losing to an AFC team who are potentially going to be in, for at the very least, a wildcard spot, the Dolphins can't afford to lose early on.
JC Jackson had an incredible season before last year. Came in, was playing like trash, and then got hurt. He's going to be available. So I wonder what mindset he has. JC Jackson, cornerback for the Chargers, saying like, you know what? Nah, I got to show up this year. It's game 1. It's some dirt on my name from last year. I'm about to come back and snap. So I'm interested. I'm curious to see what we're going to get. You mentioned Teron Armstead, and I know this is not an injury report, but it's no secret. Teron Armstead has what is it? 3 injuries right now: knee, ankle, and back. I think is on the injury report. And when was the last time we played a game, Kadeem?
like it was
February,
January. No, January because I
January,
was on
January.
because I was on a cruise.
Yeah, and I don't know if he played in that game or not. But here's my thing. This guy, we have to draft or or add depth behind him at left tackle because when he came in on this podcast, it was noted that that Devontae Parker played more games than Teron Armstead in the past 3 to 5 years. And that was significant because as Dolphin fans, we know how many games Devontae Parker had missed. So when we heard or when I found out, Devontae Parker played more games than Teron Armstead, and we're going to go get this dude. I was a little I ain't really love it. You know what I'm saying? But I loved it because I liked it because we need help. But we still need, remember those mock drafts we were doing, Kadeem? We were like, this is Teron Armstead's replacement. He could sit for 2 years. Would have been nice to have Steen just sitting on the pine and for something like this. But I don't know how you come into week 1 of the season with 3 ailments. Like, man, we might not even have our left tackle. Flip side, positivity. How many games did he miss last year? 1, 2? I can't remember, but I know he played hurt through about 15 of them. You know what I'm saying? So 13 of them maybe. But he was hurt since week 2 of last year, and he gutted it out. And behind the scenes, there was somebody that we know that said, he's about to go on IR, and never did. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we get with Teron Armstead. I don't know how sustainable this is, but man, I wish we had an answer.
So yeah, I believe he being Teron Armstead, came out and was like, I was told to get season-ending surgery like week 2 on my shoulder. Didn't happen. Like he basically played through it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, he got to a stage where he was healthy or as healthy as Teron Armstead can get going into this, this preseason. And then it was like the first player joint practices, someone rolled up on him, and I remember social media just been going, he's done. Like he managed to keep on walking or like walk later on, but I don't think he practiced since. He's been in and around the practice facility. He's been photoed, and I think Lee of the Dolphin UK podcast, shout out to the boys over there. I think he said it well. It could just be he's just not going to practice at all this year, but he'll be ready for game days. And if that's the case, then so be it. Like no one's going to say, "Hey, you've got to practice." Obviously, for a team bonding or offensive line bonding experience, you want to be practicing with your starting 5, so everyone knows not just cadences and stuff like that, but actually Teron's first step means that I've got to do this and all that kind of stuff. I think when it's Teron Armstead, you can kind of say, "Hey, listen, we know what you're going to do out there at left tackle. It is what it is." But no, it's obviously at some point we'll talk about the Teron Armstead situation, but it will get to a stage where it's like playing hurt just isn't healthy for him, and he might be like, "Hey, do you know what? I'm not doing this no more." And the positive side is that when he's on the field, you genuinely notice how good he is, and that marked improvement that he managed to have on the team and stuff like that. So listen, when you're going up against Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa week 1, the last thing you want is to not have your starting left tackle. But we'll see how it goes. And Dolphins fans just start a prayer circle that Teron Armstead is ready and suited and booted for week 1 on Sunday, because it's going to be a long evening without him.
Yeah, the chemistry matters. Like on the O line, it's a unit. You know what I'm saying? You want to be, you want that unit to be lock in step and just like adhesive, just sewn into each other. Like, we're a unit. We move together. One band, one sound. What movie is that, Kadir?
I couldn't tell you. My mind was starting to. I was like, nah. You probably say I'm like, I know exactly what it is, but off the top of my head, I have no idea.
Y'all just seen it. Kadeem doesn't know where one band, one sound came from. Drumline.
Is that the one with Nick Cannon?
Yeah, Kadeem. It's the one with Nick Cannon, bro.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I know of it. Never seen Drumline. Although that
So,
actually
yeah.
was my first guess.
If you say so. But hey, Kadeem, pop quiz real quick. Do you know how many yards receiving Tyreek Hill had in the Buffalo Bills week 3 game last year? You know that game where we just came off the Baltimore game and we came back, Tua threw for like 6 touchdowns, and then the next game was everyone passing out, and it went down to the last snap against Buffalo, and now we're 3-0. I want to say Josh Allen one hop a pass from the 5-yard line, almost threw the pick six to end the game. Spiked the ball, didn't get the clean spike, fumbled the snap. You know what I'm saying? He glitched like he does. That game. Do you know how many yards Tyreek Hill had in that game?
I'm going to go with 147.
No. Do you know how many? Well, let's go with receptions.
Can you go with 13?
13 receptions?
Yeah.
That's a lot. Like, I would have went with 13 receptions in one of those other games, but Tyreek Hill only had 2 receptions that game and 33 yards. Crazy, ain't it? That's an unbelievable stat. Unbelievable. Like, I don't bro. Like, I want to check multiple sources when I read it. Like, I'm like, what? But turns out Tua only threw for like 180 yards that game, or 140 yards that game. And that was one of them came down to the wire games. Like, yo, this is it. I remember Melvin Ingram. I don't know why he's not on the team, because I thought he had some more left in the tank. Melvin Ingram was the endless motor that game, got the game in sack, game in tackle, and everybody passed out on the field. It was so hot, everybody was cramping. Bro, I could not believe when I seen that stat that Tyreek Hill only had 33 yards and 2 receptions. Like, if there's a game this year where Tyreek Hill has 33 yards and 2 receptions, we probably did not win.
I'm not even trying to see that game. Like, although in saying that, it's like when you see the weapons the Dolphins have, is that really a bad thing? Because it could be a case of that Jalen Waddle went off, or Chris Brooks went off, or Devon A-Chain went off, or, back to back. Like, it's very different to, I guess, essentially Jalen Waddle's first season, where Jalen Waddle had 2 receptions for 33 yards. The Dolphins done nothing because that was the offense. Whereas at the moment, if you're able to, really keep Tyreek Hill quiet, then fair play, because like the other guys you got to watch out for as well.
Jalen Waddle had 4 receptions, 102 yards, no touchdowns. It's odd just looking back at it, like on paper. It is super odd. Like, dang, 100 yards, no touchdowns, 4 receptions. Tyreek Hill, 2 receptions, 33 yards. And then Tua had, let's see, let me pull this up. Tua had 186 yards, 1 touchdown. Bro, talk about a team effort. Like, you don't want to go through every week like that, gutting them out. And you know what? This is a team victory. But I remember Jalen Waddle, Miami Dolphins has some great content after wins on their YouTube channel or on their website. Some really good content. And I want to say there was either the not Buffalo. It was either Baltimore, or I'm not sure what game it was. I'm not sure what game it was. But Jalen Waddle was like, all right, defense, it's your turn now. Something of that nature. And what it struck me as, it was almost like, yo, defense was almost in the locker room like, yo, we got to keep bailing y'all out. You know what I'm saying? And then the way Jalen Waddle said it was on some, all right, we did our job this time. Like, where y'all at? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got to win the close ones. You know what I'm saying? And when people say the foolishness, like, oh, you won 7 games by 1 point, that doesn't count. Like, that's actually how you that's actually the ones that count more, actually. You know what I'm saying? But I expect us to come in here run the ball a lot. I think Raheem Mostert is going to get off, and we're not getting into no huddle yet, but I think Raheem Mostert is about to get off, and you're going to see more running than what you think you are, and hopefully we come out with this W.
Two things. I'll start with this. So, in case you didn't know, here's a record or a potential new record for Jalen Waddle to break and match this year. Jalen Waddle needs 75 receptions and 1,000 receiving yards to become the fourth player in NFL history to reach those numbers in his first 3 NFL seasons. Do you know, Charlie, the other three receivers to have that record at the moment?
Let me get it again.
So Jalen Waddle needs 75 receptions and 1,000 receiving yards to become the fourth player in NFL history to reach those numbers in his first 3 seasons. Who are the other 3 players?
Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and in the first 3 seasons, Justin Jefferson.
You got 2 out of the 3.
Oh,
Two out of the 3.
bruh.
I'll get who's the one you think you got wrong?
Justin Jefferson.
That's one of the ones you got right.
Okay, who's the third person?
So it's Michael Thomas is the third person.
Dang, he was on the radar
instead of Jarvis Landry.
So it was Michael Thomas, Justin Jefferson, and
Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh.
And again, that's when you were talking about, Tyreek Hill having that kind of stat in the Bills game, because Jalen Waddle has this ability to just go off whenever. And Mike McDaniel made him, the way Mike McDaniel used him was so much more to how we saw him when he was in Alabama.
Unlike slot receiver when we had incompetent offensive coordinators. You know what I'm saying? So what you're telling me is Jalen Waddle is a 1 and we shouldn't trade him for Jonathan Taylor straight up.
Listen, what Jim Irsay and Chris Ballard are thinking is what it is, but that's exactly what we're saying. The second thing, and it's something I said earlier, but you just alluded to it as well, I think we will see more run in this game and this season, but there genuinely needs to be a balance. Because again, there were games last year where we were running the ball really well. Raheem Mostert looks hot, and we just went away from him. And it's like, hey, why are we doing this? So again, it's not no huddle, all that kind of stuff. But I want to see plenty of Raheem Mostert, Chris Brooks, and if he's around Devon A-Chain, because in those 3 backs, it forces the Chargers defense to respect the run if it's going well. So yeah, quick question for me.
What we got?
Which 3 players? And right now, I don't really need to know why until after. But which 3 players are you most excited to see on the field week 1 against the Chargers?
Ask me one more time.
Which 3 Miami Dolphins players are you most looking forward to seeing week 1 against the Chargers?
I'm going Devon A-Chain. I think he might be a little banged up, but I still want to see him in live action. He's going to get some touches. We don't know if Savon Ahmed is going to be dressed because he's going to be banged up, but Devon A-Chain, for one, I want to see him in some live action. He's going to get his opportunity. Jeff Wilson Jr. is on IR, so for sure we're going to see some Devon A-Chain. That's 1. Need to see Tua. I haven't seen him play in like 9 months, literally. So that's 2 off the bat. I don't need to explain why. And 3, I would go with, I wish I could say Jalen Ramsey, but he's not playing. So I'm going to go with Cam Smith for sure.
You know what? I think our 3 players are very, very similar. I would swap Chris Brooks. So the 3 players I'm looking forward to seeing are Chris Brooks, Tua Tagovailoa, and I was going to go Cam Smith as well, but I'm going to go Kader Kohu. And that's no disrespect to anyone else. I just think, like you said, there's no need to explain why Tua Tagovailoa. It's been 9 months. You want to see him start the season strong, get the Dolphins to a 1-0 start, and essentially pick up where we left off in that first half against the Packers. We're going to ignore the second half. We kind of mentioned this the other day. And again, no disrespect to Eli Apple, I don't want to see Eli Apple across to Xavier Howard. Just my opinion. I'd much rather see Cam Smith. And I get it, Cam Smith is a rookie. I understand Eli Apple has more experience in this league, but the plays Cam Smith was making in preseason, both on the practice field and in the preseason games, I want to see that straight away. And I also think in this defensive scheme with Vic Fangio, I think it will probably allow Cam Smith to really thrive, if that makes sense. At the same time, I can understand, given the Dolphins over the past few years and their reluctance to play rookies off the bat, go with a more experienced person like Eli Apple. But at the very least, give Cam Smith some snaps on the field and see how he looks against a Chargers team who, hey, and again, this isn't a slight on Justin Herbert, but you can force mistakes, you can force errors, and let Cam Smith use those instincts to try and get some turnovers.
Shout out to the voice of the podcast, Jordan Simmons, for making her return for the first time in a long time. Yeah, you hear it every episode, but it's Fins Up Friday. And with Fins Up Friday, you get a lot of good stuff. No huddle. What's up? What you got for us, Kadeem?
I'm not even going to waste any time. It's week 1. The lights are on. So, Charlie, the weather in LA. And you don't even get to pick the Celsius and the Fahrenheit.
I'm give it to you
straight. 89 degrees Fahrenheit.
89 degrees?
89 degrees, yeah.
Fahrenheit and Celsius. So 89 degrees Fahrenheit. 91 degrees Fahrenheit. 83. 20. 89. I'm going to go with 27 degrees Celsius.
Incorrect.
What is it?
32.
Oh my goodness. This 32. Is not good, bro.
Dude, you start at 0-1. Just straight there. You start off season 0-1.
Well, hold on. Let's get something clear. This is in the Fahrenheit Celsius department. You know what I'm saying? This is in the calculation translation department. Like, yo, we not 0-1 in easy money. That's where it really counts. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
I'm just saying you're 0-1. Let's pick this up. That's what I'm saying.
Let's get it right. Let's go.
So the Dolphins injury report. We alluded to it earlier, but Teron Armstead did not participate. Back, ankle, and knee. Not ideal. Elijah Campbell did not participate. Justin Bethel, Julian Hill, and Jalen Waddle were limited. And then, Devon A-Chain, Savon Ahmed, Raekwon Davis, Liam Eichenberg, Brandon Jones, and Connor Williams were all full participants. For the Chargers, very quickly, Dayan Henley did not participate, and Chris Rumpf was limited. That's what I have for the injury report. Charlie, what do you have for fantasy?
Fantasy football is back. Week 1 football is back. We are having no huddle right now. We are back. Let's start from the top. If you waited to draft Tua in like round 9, round 10, it paid off for you because you want to start him. Like if you have Tua, you want to start Tua. I believe he's going to come through. I believe he's going to deliver. However, I think this first game is going to be a little tough. I'm not even going to lie to you. I actually think it's going to be tough on Tua. But if you have him, that means you probably took him late. If you waited to take him, go ahead and start him. However, if you have Sam Howell, David Carr, because you drafted Tua late and you say, you know what, let me grab one more quarterback later. I don't mind a Sam Howell or David Carr in replace of Tua. Just for this week, though, because Tua's going to show up this year. I think it's just going to be a tough week for Tua. But I would still start Tua. I have him in a couple leagues. And if I'm being real with you, Kadeem, last time we talked on the podcast, I said I'm only in 2 leagues. I'm in 8 now. I got it bad. I have it bad. Y'all pray for me. I have a fantasy football addiction. I have a problem, and I'm happy I have it. Like, I need it in my life. So anyway, we're gonna start Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert's gonna get off. He might win you your week this week because I don't envision A-Chain in a major role this game. So we're not going to start A-Chain. We're not going to start Chris Brooks. We're going to start Raheem Mostert as the only running back if you're in a deep league. The only Miami Dolphin running back we're starting is Raheem Mostert. A-Chain's going to get some touches. I'm not even sure if Chris Brooks is even going to dress, if I'm being honest with you. But if he does, like Kadeem said, I would love to see him because I want to see what that looks like. I think A-Chain gets more touches than Chris Brooks. Chris Brooks, if he's dressing, he's probably only get like 2 or 3 snaps, let alone touches. So I think A-Chain and Mostert would get the most of the touches, but Raheem Mostert is going to run away with it, and you're going to be able to use Raheem Mostert for the next couple of weeks and be like, oh, hey, I got some trade bait. You know what I'm saying? So then you get into the prolific receiver room that we have, which is Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and I will never, ever, okay, tell you to bench Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is going to be a league winner this year. He's on the quest for 2,000 yards. Not sure if he gets it, but he will get you some W's along the way. So we were starting Tyreek Hill. We're starting Jalen Waddle. I'm back on the Jason Sanders train. Give me all the Jason Sanders you can get. I believe Jason Sanders shows up for us this year, and it's going to be that season was like, dang, we don't know what we got with our kicker. You know, 2 years ago was a Pro Bowl. Last year was iffy. We're back. I'm in on Jason Sanders. We're speaking positivity. I have him in like 4 of my 8 leagues. 6 of my 8 leagues. I'm in on Jason Sanders. You know what I'm saying? I'm out on all things tight end when it comes to the Dolphins tight ends. I just can't trust it. You probably get like a 3-point game from a tight end if you messing with the Dolphins this year. So yeah, you're going to get a little more than that on average, but at the same time, it's nothing that is dependable coming from the tight end spot. Dolphins defense is something safe. It's safe this year to take. I don't think this game goes over. I think all of our games are going to be, we're going to keep everything in front of us. Herbert's not going to be able to go over the top of us. Will he sneak something in? Maybe, but I think we're going to be safe. You're going to have the Dolphins defense starting. We're going to get home a couple times with that D-line. And on the other side of the ball, I'm not starting Herbert. No bias. I'm not starting Herbert. I'm starting Austin Eckler. I'm starting Keenan Allen. Depending on where you pick Mike Williams at, you probably don't have to start him because you got him at some good value. But if he's in the flex, which he might be in your flex right now, go ahead and start him in the flex. I have Mike Williams on a lot of my teams. On 4 of the 8 teams, I have Mike Williams. I targeted him. I believe he's going to get off this year. I think he's going to have a good game this week too because he's playing in the slot this year. Kader Kohou's in the slot. That is a big ask for Kader Kohou to cover Mike Williams in the slot. Not because he's fast and agile, but because of the size difference. So I think Mike Williams actually gets off this game. But moving forward, you know, let's see what it looks like. Kellen Moore, this is his first game as the OC. Let's see what it looks like for Kellen Moore, for Herbert picking up the offense, Mike Williams being in the slot. Let's see what that looks like. But I do like Mike Williams to get in the box this game too. He's going to give us he's going to give y'all a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? It's so weird for me to say us. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the Chargers, but yeah, Mike Williams will give you a touchdown. Everett, I'm not starting Everett, the tight end. I'm not starting anything else from the Chargers. I'll start the Chargers defense. It's all right. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I got for fantasy, bro.
What you got for easy money?
Oh, shout out to everybody who rocked with us on Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody who took time out to go rock with us. We got some extra content for y'all. We got something special for y'all after this. But listen, easy money's never going to change. We're always going to give y'all the easy money pick of the week here on Go Time Dolphins. On Fins Up Friday, you're going to get the pick of the week. But we got some extra stuff. for everybody else in Patreon that rock with us. So check out the Easy Money extra segment on Patreon. Last minute locks will be on Patreon, but Easy Money segment will be here on Go Time Dolphins Fins Up Friday. The Easy Money pick of the week, Kadeem. And I want to say I went 12-5 last year. I want to say it was like 12-5 last year. Easy Money pick of the week. Tua Ningamano Olipola Tagovailoa going over a touchdown and a half this game against the Chargers. Now, the elite quarterbacks in the league, what people deem to be elite, their line is set at 2.5 touchdowns. So your Patrick Mahomes is 2.5, your Josh Allen's is probably 2.5, your Joe Burrows are set at 2.5. We're gonna take advantage of it. Yo, give me that 1.5 line, and that 1.5 line was the safest line of Easy Money last year. If Tua played, take the 1.5, right? So we're gonna take 1.5 until it's not working for us. Well, maybe, I don't know yet. We'll see what some lines look like. I seen Jalen Waddle set at 67 yards, over under 67 yards. It's a little higher than what I remember. Last year he was coming in at like around the 50s, and now they bumped it up. So if you want to give us Jalen Waddle around 50s, we'll take it, but that's not a pick of the week. The pick of the week should be the safest pick that I can find on DraftKings or any other platform that you bet on. And I'm going with Tua over a touchdown and a half. Now, I wanna clear something up. So we got, your American odds and you have your UK odds, and it's a little bit different. So to clear up some things, plus and minus. So when you see a line, say, and this line is in particular plus 114. If a line is plus 114, that means all you have to do is put $100 down to win $114. But if a line is minus 114, you have to put down $114 to win $100. In the UK, I believe it's set up in decimals, where this line would be, let's go to the notes. This line would be 2.14 in the UK, right? So we put down $100 on this brings back $214. I.e., if you put $1 down, you get back $2.14. I hope that helped. I'll clean it up for the next week. The odds in the UK is a little bit different, a little bit tougher, but that's what I got for Easy Money. I got some really good stuff for the Easy Money for y'all boys in Patreon. Come rock with us in Patreon. We're going to give you more bets, not just Dolphin oriented. We're going to really try to cash you out. And something we're doing that we've never done before here on Go Time Dolphins is we're starting out with a budget. $1,000 budget for the entire season, and we're going to see what we end up with by the end of the season on Patreon. So $1,000 budget. Follow me on Patreon to see what we could do and get you some easy money by the end of the year.
So just to kind of go back to something you just said, the American money line, which is what, 114, did you say, plus or minus?
On Tua's 1.5 touchdowns, it's plus 114, meaning put down 100, you win $114.
Cool. So I have an odds converter here just to help people out. So if the American money line is 114, then the decimal in the UK is 2.14.
Yeah.
And then the fraction, because we also have our odds in fractions, which doesn't help either. This says the fraction is 1.14 over 1. Now, if you're a bettor, let me know in the comments exactly what that means. But to kind of, again, make things a tiny bit easier, if the money line, and this is a default money line, if the default money line is 100, the decimal is 2, and the fraction is 1 over 1. I hope that helps you. If it doesn't, let us know in the comments. We will try and help you out, all that good stuff. And if you made it this far, then yeah, share, like, and subscribe. Season just started. Let's get these previews out as far and wide as possible. Go Time Dolphins trying to grow as big as we can. Follow us on X, which is obviously Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. We've got so much content coming over on all our social medias over the next few days. And yeah, follow us and subscribe basically on Patreon. Still got the Madden 24 giveaway going. We will do that giveaway, we will announce the winner on the Chargers review episode. So you've still got time to sign up to the Patreon in order to enter yourself into the Madden 24 giveaway on a console of your choice.
Gamble in moderation, gamble responsibly. If you need help, seek help. I am a recovering gambling addict. And I can say that with like my chest. Like I'm good. So yeah, if you need help, get help. You know what I'm saying? So Kadeem, it's time. Our predictions for the year for the Miami Dolphins. Give us the predictions, and then we're going to get into what the outcome of week 1. What's your prediction on the season? What's our record?
I am going to go with, what did I say to you? Did I say 12-5?
You did.
Then yeah, I haven't changed from that. I'm going to go with 12-5 and the Dolphins to make the AFC Championship.
Whoa! Dolphins are 12-5, and we're going to the AFC Championship according to Kadeem Simmons. That's wild because I have the Dolphins 12-5, and we going to the Super Bowl, boy. Let's go, man. Hey, look.
I never said we're not going to the Super Bowl. I just said we're going to.
No, you can't double.
No. It's called a cliffhanger.
You gotta say it with your chest, Kadeem.
It's called a cliffhanger. I said we're going to the AFC Championship. If you want to assume we're not going to make it past there, then you're welcome to assume that. Again, in the comments, if you think that I am being negative, all I said was going to the AFC Championship.
Kadeem think he's slick, bro. Say it with your chest. We're going to the Super Bowl. Dolphins are going. One of us said we're going to the Super Bowl. The other one said we're going to the AFC Championship. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to rewind the tapes, though. But Kadeem, happily, I'll happily rewind these tapes when we go to the Super Bowl so we can argue about this. That's all I'm saying. So what's going to happen week 1? We got the Chargers. The Dolphins at Chargers. What happens week 1, Kadeem? What's the score? Who wins?
I'm going to go with a Miami Dolphins 27-24 victory. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be not so much back and forth, but I think the lead will change a few times. But ultimately, the Dolphins will get it done. Tua and Justin Herbert will dap it up after the game. Yo, that hurt. Ring on knuckle.
Look, this guy hurt his hand punching his hand. And he's talking about Charlie Touche is Mr. Glass, and he hurt his hand punching his hand.
I'm still here. But yeah, 27-24, close game back and forth. And at the end of the game, like I said at the start of the show, it's never going to fully quiet the Justin Herbert v. Tua discussion, but the Dolphins are going to start 1-0 and, continue that trend of winning games as the season goes on. What about you?
Kadeem likes 27-24 Miami. The over-under is 51 points, 51.5. So that is an indicator of how close you're going to be to that over if that game goes the way Kadeem just said it goes. I think it's going to be a little less than that. I'll take the under in this game. I think the score is going to be 24-17 Chargers. I think we're going to lose our first game. I think the game's going to go under. And I think this is where it's just going to be, oh, my goodness. Now we got to listen to this Herbert foolishness. Herbert, you should have took Herbert. Dolphins is this. Tua, Like, I could just hear the foolishness already. I think we're going to go 0-1, but it doesn't change my prediction of going 12-5 or better and making it to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be, Coach, you say you want us to overcome some adversity. What do you say? What's the quote? Adversity is opportunity, something like that. Yeah, we're gonna have some adversity to overcome after week 1. I don't love it, but hopefully they prove me wrong.
It's gonna be a good one. I've missed Sundays, and if you're listening from the UK, I will not be at the Hippodrome this week. but I will be in week 2, and we will discuss on later podcasts the UK Dolphins meet for the Denver Broncos game at the Hippodrome. But yeah, it's Charlie, we made it. We made it to week 1, and I cannot wait.
I almost said the song, but Charlie, we made it. I like it, Kadeem. Listen, y'all come on over to bonus time with us, man. Man, we here, Kadeem. You right, bro. We made it. Look, come on over to bonus time. We're gonna chop it up a little bit more. Shout out to everybody who rocked with us. Shout out to everyone who made it through the off season with us and made it back to week 1. I know y'all excited. I'm excited. I wish the game was today. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
A fun one for bonus time. Long-time listeners, those who have been around for a few years, they will know we have some friends over at the Same Old Dolphins show. Long time. If you're an NFL fan, then you've probably seen the Gridiron cartoons. Shout out to the Same Old Dolphins. We reckon that Aaron the Brain made it in the Gridiron cartoon for the Dolphins, basically as someone who's against Tua. Charlie, I know you've seen a photo.
You don't got to pick up, bro. I thought for sure you were gonna bring up the pic since we're talking about it, bro.
See, I was gonna have it after. If you watch it on YouTube, obviously, like you'll see it over. But I can
no, that's cool. Bro, listen, this picture is epic. Shout out the Same Old Dolphins. Shout out to Josh Kasker for seeing it, and shout out to Aaron the Brain for making it in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's incredible the detail that the character has of Aaron the Brain, bro. Like, they're like, oh, this guy from Same Old Dolphins, you know what I'm saying? He drank the Kool-Aid last year, but before he wasn't drinking it, and now it's like, it's a standoff. And I was just telling, like, bro, I could not believe, like, yo, this is Aaron the Brain for sure.
Like, if it's not him, the uncanniness is amazing. It's like in those TV shows or movies where, like, someone commits a crime and then, like, they draw the person and they catch the wrong person, but that person looks like it. That's what it is. It's like, if it's not Aaron, they got your likeness down to a T. And the doppelganger of you running around right now. Listen, I don't know if Aaron made it. I don't know if I should be jealous or not, but this is probably a top 3 moment for me as a podcaster, as a Miami Dolphins fan. Like, seeing this fake Aaron or cartoon, Aaron the Brain and the Gridiron cartoon. Listen, if that was me and they got one of me, t-shirt. It's a t-shirt, 100%.
Bro, Aaron the Brain need to get an NIL deal. Like, you can't use dog name, image, and likeness and not give my dog the bag. And Aaron, if you could shoot me some of that bag, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? But Kadeem, bro, if next thing you know, they pop up with a dude with a little bit of melanin and heavy around the midsection that wears Scully and glasses, then we know they're really listening, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Why heavy around the midsection? Dude,
what you mean?
What do you mean?
I didn't say nothing inappropriate.
Heavy around the midsection.
I'm just saying, you got some weight on you, bro. Oopsie.